All right, I guess the first question I have to ask you is, as far as the defense, is there that one guy on the defensive side that used to talk trash to you and dominate you like I did?
There's been no one since you left that could do that. You're probably the only person that could get in my head, and you did a lot. And but you know, we had some great times together. I was lucky to play with you.
All right, as a kid playing in that backyard, I mean, who did you pretend to be? Who did you want to be?
I was Joe Montana and Steve Young. So I was.
You were both?
Well, because I was a 49er fan and I had both. I was both eras. You know, I was the early era of Joe. And then, you know, when Steve took over, I mean, it was what better for a kid to grow up in the Bay Area and watch those two guys. So they were both my heroes. When I was in the street playing football with my friends, that's who I was. And I had Joe Montana jersey at one point when I was younger, and then I had a Steve Young jersey when I got older.
So did you ever try to throw with your left hand?
I couldn't do that, and I certainly couldn't run. But I always loved, you know, Joe was incredible, and I loved Steve's game because he could do both. You know, he could run, throw, he had incredible quarterback ratings, and they always had great skill players. So I loved offensive football, and, you know, I love 49er quarterbacks.
Did you and your friends ever talk about, like, who the greatest quarterback that ever played was?
No, I didn't. I never talked about, I mean, I was a big football fan, and there was a lot of great quarterbacks at the time, Elway, Marino, and that's who it usually was, Elway, Marino, and then Joe. And then Steve Young was a little bit older than those, a little bit younger than those guys, but those were my favorites when I was growing up. So I thought they were all great. I mean, I
got a chance to play against all of them.
Well, you're older than me, so.
All right, when I say Aaron Rodgers, what comes to mind?
Just spectacular.
What was your first memory or recognition of Aaron?
We played him in the preseason, I think his rookie year, maybe his second year. And he was this young up-and-comer first-round pick, went to Cal, so I'm always got my eyes on those guys. And, I mean, he had all the ability and athletic ability. And then really when Brett, you know, retired and then came back, and then they said, no, like, Aaron's the quarterback, that was when I first really started to pay attention. Like, wow, you know, Aaron's playing, and then watching him play and develop over the years, I mean, it's been fun to watch. I mean, I think he's done some incredible things as a quarterback. I mean, I think everyone looks at him and tries to emulate things that he does, even though a lot of them are impossible to do. But he's just a spectacular player.
Speaking of which, what can he do? Because I've heard you say that you're an athlete, but what can he do that you can't do?
I'm not an athlete. I'm not an athlete. I'm a quarterback. That's a lot different. So, you know, I think he's got everything you want in a quarterback. He's got an amazing skill set. I think it's like when you watch, you know, you see all the quarterbacks play a certain way, and then you watch him, and I think he's just the way, you know, the velocity of the ball, you know, the ability to, you know, run and throw on the move. I mean, he can get the ball into places that no one else can get him into. So that's a unique player. I mean, you look at certain receivers that have been able to do that, or certain, you know, running backs that are able to do that. I mean, and he's at that type of a caliber of player.
What have you learned from him?
I've watched a lot of their offense over the years. You know, he's got great poise in the pocket. I think he moves around the pocket incredibly well. He's so poised in the pocket. I think he uses his blockers so well, and he must have great peripheral vision. Because a lot of times, you know, guys are running behind him, and I think he always kind of glances and looks around, see where they're at. You know, and then I think with that ability to, you know, throw the ball, there's no throw that he sees on the field that he doesn't think he can make, and I think that's why he makes a ton of them.
It kind of sounds like somebody I know.
Well, it's different for me. I think I have a different play style than him.
But I'm saying, as far as the peripheral vision, as far as the pocket awareness, I mean, you move around pretty well in the pocket too.
Yeah, I have a decent feel in there. I mean, I think it's a different type of pocket movement. You know, I kind of am always, I don't have instinctually any thought of running. You know, I talked to him at one point, and I said, well, you know, when you're looking in there and you think about running, he goes, no, I just see the coverage, and once I know the coverage, I know I'm going to run. And I'm like, man, that thought has never gone off in my head one time, you know, playing, you know, because I'm always thinking, wow, what coverage is, okay, then what route can I signal that I can, you know, find a throw. And I never think about, using my legs to help me throw, but that's a great skill set that he has.
This week you called Aaron Rodgers an inspiration. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think that, like I said, when I watch him play, and I study, watching a lot of film. I mean, the style of play and the way that I watch him move and throw, it makes me want to get on the practice field and try new things. And, I've done that over the last few years of just trying to incorporate maybe some different throwing mechanics even than I have, different angles of throws and so forth, that it makes me do things on the practice field that I probably didn't. And I'm sure when Aaron was young, he was watching Brett. And I'm sure Brett, and later in his career, he was doing a lot of, unique throws, unique drills, different release points, and throwing on the run left. And Brett was so spectacular at those things. So I'm sure it was a great benefit to Aaron watching, someone in practice do that all the time, and then you try to emulate that, and then you actually take it to different levels. And, I don't get to see that in practice, obviously, but I can see it on game film. Right. So I try to watch some of those things.
He called you a pioneer because of your longevity and your success. What's your reaction to that? It's pretty special. Pretty nice compliment.
It's very cool, and I think I'm still trying to be that. I still got to prove it to myself. I mean, I know that I got a great routine. I'm 41. I'm still feel like I can do everything I always did, and I want to continue to do it. I want to do it when I'm 45.
But you've inspired other guys like Breeze and other guys like Matt Ryan to know that they can play well into their 40s.
Yeah, I think so too. And like I said, there's guys that inspired me. I mean, that's what it's all about. They're always trying to take to the next level. And I think when you learn, I always say once you know the right way, you can't unknow the right way. So me trying to perform and, like I said, the routines that I have and how to prepare my body physically, that's not going to regress. It's only going to get better. And I think it's gotten better over the course of my career. So if those guys can learn from me, that's what I want. It's always going to be better. That's what life should be about. You look at other people who do things, and you aspire to be better than that. And hopefully you give them tools to start at a much better place than you started at, so they can ascend higher, and that's how you keep evolving. So I think that's a great thing.
Whether it's arts, say music, literature, athletics, what does it mean to master your craft? Because it seems like you've kind of mastered your craft.
I think I just love the game. And I think that has always felt like transcended, so many things for me. It never feels like practice to go to practice. It feels like fun. I get to go and play football with my friends. And of course, I'm not hitting every single day, which I know is hard for a lot of guys. That wear and tear is tough. For a quarterback, we get to go, we're playing football. And every time I walk in the locker room, I go, God, I walk out to practice, I see these guys working hard on the field or in the parking lot. And I go, man, now that's working. They have jobs, I feel like in so many ways I don't have a job. I've just got to love what I do. And because of that, it makes me want to just keep doing it. So it's a sport. I mean, I get to play football for a career, and I don't think there's anything I could have dreamed of that would be better than that.
You faced a lot of great quarterbacks over your time, and Aaron Rodgers, you'll be facing him, and he'll be across that sideline. Now, is there a little extra something there because it's Aaron Rodgers?
I think when you play the greats, and he's one of the greats, and when I played Peyton Manning, I absolutely wanted to raise my game. I absolutely looked over and I said, this guy, he's going to bring it, and I'm going to bring it, and let's see where it goes. And I'm leading my offense, he's leading his offense. We got guys that we need to do their job on defense and special teams, but that these are the games that you remember. I mean, I remember all the games against Peyton Manning. I remember the game I played against Aaron in 2014 at Green Bay. I mean, that was a great game. We had our chance. We kind of blew our chance.
Right.
And then we never got the ball back. He completed the ball on third down to run out the clock. So they're tough losses when you lose, but that it's just this is where you measure, where your team's at against other great teams.
1 minute left, fourth quarter. You have the lead, but Aaron Rodgers has the ball. What's going through your mind?
I'm worried. I'm worried. Because I've seen him do it too many times. So, I'm hoping we make a play, but, I think that's part of it. You hope you're not in that situation because, I've seen too many times. I mean, he could be on his own 30-yard line with, 15 seconds left and hit an out cut and then throw some Hail Mary. And he's done that a few times too. So he can, he can score points in a very short period of time.
How does it make you feel, Tom, when you hear your name being mentioned as the best ever?
I don't think I like it very much, truthfully. I don't think it's almost more uncomfortable for me because I never see myself like that. And I've always been underdog.
How do you view yourself? Because you remember before, back in 2003, you told me while we're sitting down having lunch, I'm a 6th-round pick, draft choice.
Yeah.
That's your approach.
I still feel that way. I mean, I was a backup quarterback on an 0-8 freshman high school team. I didn't even play. We didn't win a game, and I couldn't even get on the field. I was kind of a late bloomer, recruited to Michigan late, started as a 7th quarterback. Had to work really hard to even play. Thought, oh man, I'll be in pro football. Got drafted in the 6th round. No one thought I'd make the team.
So that drives you.
Yeah, it still does. I mean, I think now it's like, wait a minute, now you guys want me to stop playing? No, this is when I'm having fun. Now is the time where I get to do, really enjoy it. I always had a lot of belief in myself, and I always tell a lot of young quarterbacks, you don't believe in yourself, why do you think those guys who are looking at you are going to believe in you? When you step in that huddle, they better look at you and go, man, that guy's ready to get the job done. Because if they don't see that, then they're going to start questioning, oh my God, I don't think that guy can get the job done. So you got to believe in what who you are, what you do, what you bring to the team. And then if you do that, they're going to feed off that as well.
Do you ever sit back and just really appreciate kind of what you've accomplished in your life? I mean, do you ever sit back and just say, you know what, I did okay for myself?
No, I don't. Unfortunately.
Do you take that as a weakness, being a weakness?
I feel like I'm still, if it's a marathon and there's 26 miles in the marathon, I don't think at mile, 21.
What mile are you at right now?
I think 21, 22. I think if I'm in mile 21, you're not going, man, that was a great 21 miles I ran, You're still thinking like, I still got 4 or 5 miles to go, and I got to make those my best miles. And if I don't, I'm letting myself down. Why shouldn't I? I've got, I know what to do. I know my players. I know the offense. I feel good. Why shouldn't these be great games? So I think it's probably more frustrating. I think managing frustration is probably harder for me now than it was when I was younger. Because when you're younger, you maybe accept at a lower standard. I think as you get older, you realize you've seen the best. I played with Hall of Famers. I played against Hall of Famers. You see the best, and that's what you aspire to be every day. So how do you deal with frustrations when it's less than that? When you score, I said earlier this year, we scored a few games where we scored 38 points. We should have scored 50. I was frustrated. Before, if we scored 13 points and we won, I was happy. Right. Because you guys would give up 7 points or no points, So I think that's a little bit of a difference. And I think just managing my overall, positive outlook, which I try to have, but there's a lot of daily frustrations.
You talk about those frustrations. Have you had to kind of adjust your leadership style in order to relate to this younger locker room and a younger generation?
I feel like I do that naturally. I feel like I have a great camaraderie with the guys I play with. The guys I used to play with, I still do, because I genuinely care about the guys that I play with. I mean, I care about the guys that I've played with, the guys that are in the locker room. I'm trying to help them reach their potential in their career. If I can help them in any way, that's a great benefit to me. I had you to look up to. I had Willie to look up to. I had Teddy to look up to. I had Drew Bledsoe to look up to. Lawyer Malloy, all the great players that I saw. And I was lucky to play with those guys. Now they're looking at me in the same way. So what can I do to help them? What advice can I give them? How can I sit down with them and help them be a better player? And I think that's...
Now, the one thing that I see, you don't hesitate to yell and scream. I mean, whether you're yelling and screaming kind of out in the wind or whether you're yelling and screaming at one of your guys. I mean, do the young guys take to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think by the way, you yelled a lot too. So
I did.
I think there's a purpose to that too, And
but it's a different time too, Tom. Back when I was yelling at guys, we were older. We had a lot of veteran players.
Yeah.
And the young generations, they're a lot different now. They're a little bit more sensitive.
I think yelling to yell isn't the point. I think it's yelling to create urgency and to change states of mind is what's important. They know me typically as very poised, someone that's very composed in the meetings, who's wants to communicate, in a very mature way, in the locker room. in the meeting room. And when I get on the field, if I'm, communicating differently, I'm trying to say, listen, like, we're not getting it done. Like, we need more urgency. We need more focus, more attention. You got to play harder. We need more effort, and then hopefully you can that's part of being a leader on the field is, getting everyone to rise to the occasion. So I think I have both parts of me, and being able to communicate to them in a locker room is different than on the field. But the stakes are different in the locker room on the field.
But they trust you.
Yeah, they trust me, and they trust that, I'm trying to do it in all of our best interests. I'm not trying to do it to show them up or anything. So I've never had a problem with that.
Have you seen that NBC promo with Michael Jordan, and he talks about the greatest of all time?
I did. I was actually laying there, and I wasn't looking. I was getting treatment with Alex, and I heard Michael Jordan's voice and didn't know who. I was literally laying, I was looking up at the ceiling, and I hear this commercial, and it was last Sunday night. And I'm like, what's MJ talking about? Who's playing? Is LeBron and who? And then I looked up, and it's a football promo.
So I got to ask you, who's your guy? MJ or LeBron? Who you going with? And you better answer. Don't give me that political crap.
I'm not answering that question.
How can you not answer the question?
Because I don't even like that question. It's a hypothetical question. There's no answer.
Okay, then we want to hear what you have to say about it. It's Michael Jordan or it's LeBron James.
I love them both. I love them both. I'll tell you this. I love them both. And you know what? I think that's the right answer. Because how could you choose one? They're different. They compete differently. Are you saying a game on one-on-one? Like, that's not fair.
All right, 10 seconds left. You're down by 1. Who you giving the ball to? Michael Jordan or LeBron? Because I know if it's football, who I'm giving it to, I'm giving it to number 12. Who you giving it to?
Well, Joe Montana was pretty amazing at that, too.
I'm giving it to you.
And
who are you giving it to?
I don't know.
You're going to answer that question. It might not
He's
be
never
on
got
camera,
the most
but
open
you're
shot.
answer.
I know.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.